If I had to describe myself as a person, I would say I've always been very active. I love hanging out with my sisters, family, playing with friends, soccer, which I love. I'm Jadon Reed. I'm 16 years old, and I needed to have my leg lengthened.
Jadon was about 13 when I first saw that his leg seemed to be bowing a little bit. And when I asked my husband if he had noticed it, and he said he thought, yes, something was wrong, we immediately knew to take him in and get it checked.
When I first met Jadon, he had a deformity in his leg. It was a little bit crooked. We call it varus deformity, which is bow-legged. We discovered that he had a bone lesion. It's called an enchondroma, and it's consistent with a whole disease called Olliers disease. And that can cause limb length discrepancy, so one leg shorter than the other, because it usually just affects one side.
Dr. Casey told us that Jadon had a tumor and it needed to be removed.
You hear tumor, automatically my mind went to cancer.
It's your biggest fear when you hear the word tumor, but I didn't even know what Olliers was. We had to do some research, just start trusting the doctors, and a lot of unknowns. It was scary.
Thankfully, when they removed it, it was benign, but it had shut down Jadon's growth plate, causing a 2-inch discrepancy between his right leg and his left leg.
The length discrepancy in my right leg, I think it was about 2 inches. It totally affected the way I moved. My hips were off, and it caused a good deal of back pain. I had a bulging disc in my back that I had to go get physical therapy for to correct.
Once we received the diagnosis of a benign tumor, Jadon had to wait about a year to fully reach his growth so that we could proceed with the surgery that would allow him to grow his leg.
A good candidate for lengthening with the Fitbone nail is a just barely skeletally mature patient, so still an adolescent, who has a limb length discrepancy with or without deformity.
When I heard that I'd have to have that surgery, I was definitely scared that I wouldn't be able to play soccer, I wouldn't be able to run again. Yeah, that was a big concern.
Dr. Casey was very clear about the procedure he was going to have. In particular, that this procedure was internal, having a rod inside of his leg instead of a lot of external things that we had seen in the past.
When Dr. Casey told us that there was this new apparatus that they could insert into his leg, nothing was going to be sticking out of it, that he was just going to be able to put an electronic device to it to grow it. I think there was just a lot of relief for both Jadon and I that this thing was going to be pretty discreet.
The Fitbone nail works by placing the nail through the knee into the femur. We then put 2 screws close to the knee, 1 screw above the cut in the bone. Then we place a receiver, and the receiver sits just under the skin. The patient takes the transmitter and puts it on top of the skin, sending a signal to the receiver, which then goes into the nail. And the nail has a motor which lengthens it.
Once I got back from the surgery, starting the recovery process, I went through some physical therapy to regain the range of motion. Once Dr. Casey thought I was ready to start the lengthening process, I started doing that 3 times a day. The amount of time the rod was in my leg doing the lengthening surprised me because I thought it would take a lot longer than it did. I was done within a few months. That was awesome.
It was just amazing every time we saw a new picture from the scans that Dr. Casey gave us. It's incredible to see bone growing in a gap. And the fact that you can remove the rod and he's now just Jadon without anything in his leg, it's pretty incredible.
Our family is truly thankful for Dr. Casey. She not only healed my son, but has opened his eyes to another career path. He has always wanted to be a structural engineer and now is pushing forward to be an orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah, from my perspective, anyone who is looking at this as an option, I would do it over again in a heartbeat because I can see what it's given my son again. And I don't think there's another option better.
Now that I'm through the recovery process, it's great being able to go back on the field, score goals, and get involved in the team like I used to. So it's great being back to that.
I love seeing Jadon be able to get out there with his sisters and rollerblade and play sports and just be a family again. And he is free to go and he can do as much as he wants. There are no restrictions whatsoever. And I love that he can just go be a kid. He's whole again.